Hey everybody, Jam Creates here again with another drive home video. Doing it a little bit differently. I've got the camera in my jacket pocket because I'm actually wearing a jacket today because it was cold today. It's a cold October day. It's finally fall here on the East Coast. Some cold weather. Kind of started feeling like winter a little bit this morning. But anyway, that's beside the point. This is a drive home video, not the weather report. So I think today what I want to talk a little bit about is just maybe a little bit about myself. I don't tend to talk about myself too much, I don't think. Yeah, that was you probably heard my zipper on my pocket. What I'm going to talk about is myself. Just a little about myself, I guess. I'll tell you a little about who I am and what I do and whatever. So, I'm not going to divulge too much in the way of personal info because that would just be silly. But for just basics, I am on the East Coast. I'm in New York. I grew up here. I was born and raised. And so you can, take that for whatever you want to take it for. I'm a Yankee fan, so you can hate me for that. That's fine. Please feel free to bust my chops about the Red Sox beating us in the playoffs this year. That's fine. I can live with that. When you've built up 27 world championships, it's kind of easy to take one loss in stride. Anyway, that's my Yankee bragging for the day. I'm a nerd who likes sports. I know that seems to be a thing that a lot of people just assume doesn't go together for whatever reason, but I don't really quite understand that because it's just fun. I enjoy sports, and it is what it is. But I'm just gonna, I'm not here to really talk about sports. I'm just gonna talk about myself. Like I said, I grew up in New York. Born and raised. I've never lived outside of New York. I've traveled, obviously, outside of New York. But, I'm married. I have a wife and a kid, and I've got a beautiful daughter, and I love her very much, and I love my wife very much. I am a middle class, I guess you'd call us. We work hard. We don't have a ton of extra money laying around, but we work real hard. Living in New York, it is expensive, so it kind of eats up all your money anyway. And we have a nice place that we rent, and we have our cars, although I was living without a car for a while there because the one car was dead, and we had to wait to have the money to get it fixed. So obviously we're not like super well off. And as far as I go, I work full time. I've said that before. I have a full-time job. My wife works. We both work. You have to. When you live here, you both need to work. And we, we're a normal family. We've got our ups and downs just like anyone else. Health issues, money issues, all that nonsense, we've got it just like everybody else does. And so that's why for me, I work full time. I've worked hard to have the job that I have. And it is not the job I foresaw myself to have when I was younger, that's for sure. Even 10 years ago, I didn't think I would be doing what I'm doing now. But, hey, that's life. Things happen. And that's kind of my story as an artist and as a creator. When I was a kid, I used to draw. I used to read comic books, obviously, like crazy, and watch cartoons and all that kind of stuff. And I used to make my own comic books all the time. And I created my own characters, and I made my own comic books, and what I used to do was I would just make the stories up as I went along. I would come up with an idea for a character, for a superhero, and basically just kind of work from there. I would make up a character, and then I would think of a cool name and come up with a costume and some powers or whatever it might be, if it was non-powered or whatever. And, then I would just make up a story as I went along. And since they were pretty much all issue number ones, they were all origin stories. And, so they kind of write themselves. I mean, let's be honest, like, origin stories are not usually, like, the most interesting part of a superhero. I mean, we all know the origin stories of most characters, and let's be honest, a lot of them are very, very similar. Scientific accident, murdered parents, or sometimes both. And, that's kind of where it goes. I mean, a lot of them are the same. Obviously there's different twists on it and stuff, but whatever. And so I used to do that all the time. I mean, from the time I was probably in elementary school through high school, I was drawing all the time and making up my own comic books. And a lot of my comic books, yes, because this is what happens when you're a kid, they're rip-offs of existing heroes, of existing comic books. I mean, that's fine. That's what people do, I was a big fan of the Ninja Turtles, so instead of, so I made up my own version. Instead of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it was the furry fighting Kung Fu Ferrets. And I've already shared those on my website, the comics, and I'll do a video about them at some point, like I did a video of Night Stalker #1. And Night Stalker was clearly a Batman ripoff. His parents were murdered. He was a rich kid whose parents get murdered, and then he trains, and then he becomes the Night Stalker, and he goes and he fights crime. I mean, obviously. He even wears, even his costume colors are the same as the classic Batman blue and gray costume. Whatever. It is what it is. That's what kids do. So I had a lot of stuff like that. And there was some stuff that was a little bit more original. I had some that I didn't finish. Some I literally just drew a cover for and not a whole issue. And that's, whatever. And at some point, I think I would love to do something with those characters again. Just because, they were a part of me for so long. And, even when I stopped, some of them I made multiple issues, some of them I didn't. But I never stopped thinking about those characters, even if I didn't make a new issue for them. And so it's definitely something that, I have things in mind, and at some point, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how things go. At some point, maybe I will do something with those characters again. I would like to. I'd like to revisit them. And, I mean, some of them I probably would have to change their names because of copyright issues, especially if I was going to try and sell something with them in it. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not really sure how that's going to go. I've got so many other ideas too, new ideas, more original stuff that I would love to do as well. So I don't know. We'll see. But my point is, I used to draw all the time. And that's what I was doing. I was drawing constantly, and I was constantly making comic books. And I was drawing, obviously, art of other characters that I liked. I would draw the Ninja Turtles constantly, all the time. And I would draw pictures of Batman and the Joker, and I would draw Spider-Man and everything. I mean, it's just, I would draw Transformers because I was a huge Transformers fan. And I was always doing that kind of stuff. And, I was drawing G.I. Joe. Just, the stuff I liked, I was drawing those, and then I was drawing my own stuff as well. And what happens, it's kind of funny, because what happened was I've always been creative. And you probably wouldn't know it from watching my videos because, I kind of just put them together. A lot of them are stream of consciousness, or just, holding the phone and showing you something while I'm making a video. And really, the funny thing is, I went to school. I mean, later, it was much later. I eventually, life comes at you, and you've got to work, and you need to make money. And, I met my wife, and we got married, and I'm pretty sure it was before we had my daughter. Yeah, it was before we had my daughter. I went to school. I went back to school, and I went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and I got my, I graduated there, and I learned there, radio and television and editing and all that stuff. And, it was it was a fun time. I really enjoyed my time there. I really had a great time, and I learned a ton. I learned a lot at that place, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I really, really would recommend it, honestly, to anyone who's thinking of trying to get into the broadcasting industry, whether it be TV or radio or whatever. And I learned a lot there, and I was really happy with that. And I started freelancing, doing video freelance, and then I went to work for a magazine, a local magazine, and I did videos for them. I helped launch their website, the website component to their magazine, where they wanted to have lots of video. And so I helped them with that, and I shot lots and lots of stuff for them and edited it all together, and wasn't really making a whole lot of money doing it, but I was really enjoying it and really having a great time. And somewhere along the way, my daughter was born, and I was still doing the video thing. And it worked out nicely in terms of, most of what I was doing was in the afternoons or the evenings, and I would go out and shoot an event, and I'd come home, and then I could edit at home. And my daughter was little, so I would stay home with my daughter during the day, and then go out and while my wife was at work. And then in the afternoons, evenings, I would go out and shoot. I was covering mostly high school sports, so I would do that, shoot my video, come home, have dinner with my family or whatever, and then, sometimes it'd be later than that, obviously. And then I would edit the video until late into the night, and then turn it into them. And then eventually, that job led me to another job where I was editing video and shooting video, and I was a producer and stuff for a local television station that was also covering high school sports. And so I was, going out a lot at that point, and I was making much better money working for them. And I was going out and I was shooting stuff for them, and same basic principle. I'd go out and shoot and then come home and edit and be up until God knows when at night doing it. But it was fine because, I didn't really have to get up in the morning, and unless it was just, my daughter woke up and I'd get up with her. And I was doing that for a while, and I'm really loving it. I mean, that was I was loving every minute of that job. And at some point, they eventually, after about 3 years of working with them and helping them launch their network and everything, they decided to lay off a whole mess of us. They laid off about 60 or 70 of us, and, that put out 60 or 70 video professionals with them on their resumes, all looking for work. And that was tough. That was definitely tough. And, my daughter was getting older, and things are getting more expensive, and she required more, parental attention in, she's starting school, and, scheduling becomes an issue. And so eventually what happened was, I needed money, and so I just started taking any job I could get, because you got to pay the bills. And so I did a few different things. At one point I was a brand rep for PlayStation. That was fun. I didn't make a ton of money doing that, but it was a fun job. I enjoyed it. I got to talk about video games with people all day. I got to play video games all day. Got to help other people play video games. And I got to sell stuff, which was fun, I was a brand rep for Levelor, which are blinds and shades and stuff. That was significantly less fun than the PlayStation one. But those jobs were all temporary. You worked for a third-party agency that did brand repping, and then, so none of those jobs were meant to last. And, they were fine, and they were what they were, but they didn't pay great, and it was, not the greatest thing in the world, but it worked. It was fine. It was something. And then eventually I started driving a truck for a local delivery company, and I was driving around and moving boxes and loading up a truck and unloading a truck and doing deliveries and picking up weekend shifts just for extra money. And, again, money wasn't spectacular, but it was consistent and it was better than nothing. And then eventually I found my way to the job that I have now. And I started out part-time and doing overnights, and then eventually got full-time doing overnights, and I did overnights for 3 years and worked hard at it, did my best at it, and eventually turned that into a promotion, and now I'm doing the job I do now, and I'm doing much better financially than I was before, and that's definitely a good thing. And I do enjoy my job. I really like where I work. I like the company I work for. I like the environment that I work in. I work in assisted living now, and the residents, I love the residents, and they crack me up every day. They make me laugh, and you really do get attached to them. And what happened was, long story short, although I think that's kind of impossible at this point, I worked in this, this whole thing, doing all this stuff. My creativity of stuff for myself stopped. I was being creative while I was doing the videos and the editing and stuff. I was being creative, to an extent. It wasn't the most creative thing in the world to be editing videos of high school sports, but I got to still flex some creativity and pick good shots for highlights and stuff, and it was still, and like I said, it was still fun. Certainly beats digging ditches. And so, I'm doing that, and the weird thing was, I stopped doing creative work for myself because I was so busy and I just didn't have the time, and I was working. And so eventually what ends up happening is I just stopped. I completely stopped doing any creative work. And then years go by and you realize, holy cow, years and years have gone by and I have not drawn anything in so long. And I started seeing things, and things just started sparking my interest again. And I was kind of, I was feeling unhappy and a little depressed, and realized part of that is because I'm not expressing myself creatively, and you need that creativity. If you're a creative person, you need to express that creativity, or it drives you crazy. It'll drive you nuts. It really will. And so I eventually realized I need to do something. So I I picked up a pencil and I started drawing again. And I started writing and I started drawing and just doing it here and there. And when I was working overnights, it gave me an ability to start doing that. And so I started posting some stuff to a website, and that led me to now, obviously, making videos and stuff. But it also led me to going on YouTube and looking for stuff to help me get better at drawing and things like that. And, I kind of just exploring YouTube, I found Diversity in Comics channel, and then I found, That Umbrella Guy, and I found Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and I found videos by Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane talking about how to draw stuff. And it was amazing to me, all of a sudden this idea of people that I idolized in my youth, guys like Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane, here they are. It's on video, but here they are teaching me how to draw. What the heck, man? If that's not the coolest thing ever, I don't know what is. That's just truly amazing. When you've got people like that giving you the secrets of how they would draw things. And it really, inspired me to start drawing again and take it seriously. So I did, and I've been doing that, and I've been working on my art, and I've been doing these YouTube videos, and it's another creative outlet, and I really do kind of enjoy this. I look forward to making these videos. I look forward to finding new things to make videos about, and right now I'm serving a very, very small audience, and that's fine. Hopefully with time my audience will grow, and these people will enjoy. And I've been sharing my old comic books online. If you go on Tapas, you can go to Jam Comics Classics, go look for Jam Creates. That's my username on there. And you can read some of my old terrible comics that I made when I was a kid. And they're fun to look at. It'll take you a couple minutes. Most of them are not more than like 7-8 pages long. There might be like one or two that are longer than that, but they're not very long. And I think you could get a laugh from seeing these ridiculous comics that teenage me made. And it's I think it's fun. I think you could enjoy it for sure. So I think it's worth checking out. I think it could be fun. I think I think it's definitely something that I'm sorry, there's like a whole incident here with like fire trucks and stuff. But yeah, I think it's fun to explore these new things and to relearn how to draw and continue to get better and work at this stuff and to really just get better at something that I really enjoy. And I'm working at it, and I'm getting better, and I'm having fun, and I'm creating new stuff, and I've got new ideas that are exploding out of my head that I just really, really can't wait to share with you guys at some point. And that's the thing, like when I look at like the Comicsgate creators, like their enthusiasm has helped just inspire so many people. You can see all these people launching crowdfunding campaigns and coming out of the woodwork, and it's really truly amazing. Like all these talented people that it seems like they were afraid to put their stuff out there and to try to create something because of just the environment that was out there. And now it's so different. Like I really feel like there's going to be a time when I can succeed and I can put out a book and it's going to succeed and people will actually read it. If I do a good enough job, people will actually check it out and hopefully enjoy it. And that's the key. The key is you still have to do a good job. None of it is given to you. It's earned. And you have to earn it. And you have to do a good job. And then people will read it. And that's where I'm at. I feel like, I'm working towards that. And I'm trying to build an audience here on YouTube and on Twitter, and hopefully it'll happen for me, and I don't know how long it'll take. It may take some time, and obviously it's going to take some time, but it's definitely worth doing. I think it's worth trying, and I think I'll get there. So that's my story. I'm not home, but I had to stop at the store on the way home, so that's going to be it for today, and I will talk to you soon. Please, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at jam_creates. I'm on Minds. I'm at Jam Creates. Here on YouTube, so on Tapas, I'm Jam Creates. On DeviantArt, I'm Jam Creates. So, check out some of my stuff. Let me know what you think. Comment on this stuff. Hit me up. Like I said, hit me up on Twitter. I'm always open to talking. So just, check me out. Shoot me a line. I'll definitely talk. So that's it. And I will see you soon. Take it easy, folks.